Something is wrong in Derry again. Something hiding in the dark corners, waiting for the moment when no one is paying attention. And the episode 6 trailer gives us our clearest sign yet that Pennywise is not just returning. He's changing. There are clues in this trailer that most people will miss, hints buried in the background, tiny details that reveal what episode 6 is truly building toward. And once you see them, it becomes impossible to ignore the feeling that the show is preparing us for a much bigger terror than anything we've seen so far. The episode 6 trailer of Welcome to Derry opens with a slow-building sense of dread, a kind that doesn't rely on jump scares but on the fear that something familiar is returning. The shots are quick, but each one feels like a puzzle piece. The first visuals show empty streets, flickering lights, and a heavy fog crawling between the houses as if the town itself is holding its breath. Even without Pennywise appearing right away, his presence hangs over everything. You feel it in the unsettling silence, in the cold colors, and in the way the camera moves like something is watching from the shadows. The trailer wastes no time pulling us back into the uneasy rhythm of Derry. Characters move through scenes like they're being pulled by an invisible thread. Someone walks past a storm drain, pretending not to notice the darkness inside. Another character looks over their shoulder as if they heard something whisper their name. Every moment feels like a warning that the cycle of terror is pushing closer. The trailer also shows familiar locations, but each with a disturbing shift. The old carnival lights flash in short, broken patterns, making the place look more like a trap than a memory from childhood. The school hallways feel longer and more empty than usual. The sewers, of course, appear again, but the camera never stays long enough to show anything clearly, just enough to remind us that this is where IT feels at home. There's also a quick shot of balloons drifting across a lonely street, but instead of the usual bright red, some appear faded or dirty, almost like they've been waiting underground for too long. This small change makes them feel more threatening. As if time has twisted them along with whatever evil is rising beneath the town, the trailer also hints at returning characters trying to understand what's happening. Their expressions say more than their words. Fear, confusion, guilt. Each face carries a different piece of the mystery. A character we've seen be brave before now looks scared to even speak. Another who once denied anything strange was happening now seems desperate to warn others. These emotional shifts matter, because they show how the fear in Derry grows quietly before it explodes. The trailer never tells us exactly what the characters know, but it gives just enough to make us wonder what secrets they've been keeping since the last episode. And while we may not see Pennywise fully, there are shots where it feels like he is somewhere just outside the frame, watching the characters struggle. His influence is everywhere, even in his absence. What makes this overview so interesting is that the trailer doesn't rely on showing the monster. Instead, it focuses on atmosphere, tension, and unanswered questions. The sound in the background rises slowly, like a heartbeat speeding up. Streetlights buzz like something draining their energy. A door creaks open on its own. These simple sounds create a feeling that something terrible is inching closer and closer. The pacing of the trailer is slow at first, building a thick layer of unease, and then suddenly, the cuts become faster. Quick flashes of terrified faces, a shadow moving behind someone, a balloon drifting upward in a way that feels unnatural. It's as if the trailer wants you to feel caught between what you understand and what you can't explain. By the time it ends, you don't just feel scared, you feel curious. You want to know what these shots mean, why the town feels more alive than ever, and what episode 6 is truly building toward. And that curiosity is exactly what the show wants, because episode 6 seems ready to reveal something bigger than just another Pennywise scare. It feels like the beginning of something that has been waiting under Derry for far too long. The episode 6 trailer becomes much more intense when we look at it scene by scene, because every shot seems to be hiding something deeper than what it first shows. The opening moments focus on a calm street at dusk, but that calmness feels fake, almost staged, like the town is pretending everything is normal. The sky looks too still, and the air seems too quiet, as if Derry is holding in a secret. In the background, a small shape shifts behind a parked car. And even though the trailer doesn't zoom in, the movement is sharp enough to make you wonder if something was watching from the start. Immediately after, the trailer cuts to a character walking fast, head down, clutching something close to their chest. Their breathing is loud, and their steps are uneven, like they're trying to outrun a thought rather than a person. Behind them, a streetlight flickers once and then glows a strange, sickly color, as if reacting to their fear. The next sequence shows a group of kids gathered near a faded mural, and their faces reveal a mix of confusion and dread. One of them touches the wall and pulls their hand back as if the surface was colder than it should be. The trailer lingers on the mural just long enough for viewers to notice something subtle, a red balloon poorly drawn into the background that was never there in earlier episodes. It looks like a childish doodle, but there's a smudged quality to it that makes it feel wrong, as if someone or something added it while the town slept. The following shot jumps to a dark hallway where the floorboards creak under soft footsteps. A shadow stretches across the wall, impossibly long compared to the person walking, and it bends at unnatural angles. It flickers for only a second, but long enough to raise the question of whether Pennywise is quietly shaping the world around the characters without fully appearing. A sudden cut brings us to a close-up of a character's eye wide open in fear. Their pupils shake slightly, like they're seeing something that the camera will not show us. The lack of context makes this moment even more unsettling. The next image adds to that tension, a tricycle tipped over in the middle of a yard, slowly rocking back and forth even though there is no wind. The motion is too gentle to be natural, almost as if an invisible hand is touching it. Before you can process that, the scene changes again to a basement staircase lit only by a thin strip of light. Dust floats in the air, rising instead of falling, as if gravity is beginning to behave strangely in this part of the house. At the bottom of the stairs, something stirs, but the trailer cuts away just before anything becomes visible, leaving the viewer with the uncomfortable sense that the basement is breathing. The pacing of the breakdown tightens when the trailer shifts to a series of rapid flashes. A door slams on its own, a balloon drifts upward in a perfectly straight line. A sink overflows with dark water that ripples as though something underneath is trying to break through. One shot, which lasts barely a quarter of a second, shows a figure crouched in a corner with knees pulled to their chest. Their head tilts rapidly, almost mechanically, as if listening to voices only they can hear. The scene that follows brings us outside again, where rain falls in one direction while leaves blow in another, giving nature a twisted, off-balance feeling. The last slow moment in the trailer shows a character gripping a flashlight, hands trembling, and we see the beam land on a child's drawing taped to a wall. The drawing shows a clown with a massive grin, but the disturbing part is that the smile appears wider than normal, almost like the crayon lines have stretched themselves. As the flashlight flickers, the drawing seems to pulse subtly, as if it is alive or reacting to the light. The breakdown ends with the trailer's most chilling moment, a quick shot of a red balloon drifting behind someone walking alone. The person never notices it, and the balloon moves silently, almost respectfully, staying just far enough behind to follow without being seen. The shot is simple, almost quiet, but it carries the most tension because it hints at Pennywise's style of torment, slow, patient, choosing the perfect moment to strike. The trailer cuts to black right after, leaving the feeling that everything we saw was only the beginning. And that episode 6 is designed to push the fear in Derry to a level we have not witnessed yet. One of the most fascinating things about the episode 6 trailer is how deeply it reaches into Stephen King's original lore without openly announcing it. The trailer doesn't shout its references. Instead, it hides them in small details that only longtime fans or careful viewers will recognize. One of the most important connections is the idea that Derry is not just a town with a monster. It is a place shaped by something older, something that bends reality around it. The trailer subtly supports this by showing moments where the environment behaves strangely, like gravity shifting or shadows stretching into impossible shapes. These moments are small hints toward the idea that IT's power is not limited to Pennywise's form. In King's world, IT exists beyond shape or logic as a creature from a cosmic dimension known as the Macroverse. The trailer's unnatural changes in everyday objects feel like a quiet nod to this idea, reminding viewers that the clown face is only a mask worn by something much more ancient. Another deep lore connection comes from the trailer's use of symbols and repeated imagery. The red balloon is an obvious one, but the way the balloons appear in this episode feels different. Some look old, deflated, or stained, almost as if they've been reused throughout multiple cycles of IT's terror. In King's novel, IT awakens every 27 years to feed, and these worn-out balloons subtly hint at the long history of Pennywise's attacks. The trailer also shows murals, drawings, and old photographs that look slightly altered, as if they contain memories IT has twisted over decades. This ties directly to the way King describes Derry's collective forgetfulness, the town forgetting tragedies as soon as they happen, almost like IT is rewriting history in real time. When the characters in the trailer stare at old images with confusion or fear, it suggests that the past is not fixed, and that IT might be warping their understanding of what happened long before they were born. The trailer also seems to reference one of the most powerful elements of King's mythology, the connection between IT and Monterine, the giant cosmic turtle. While the turtle is never shown directly, small symbols hint at its presence. A quick glimpse of a turtle carving on a classroom desk, a turtle-shaped shadow near a pond, or even a child's toy left on the ground, all of these tiny signals feel intentional. In the Stephen King universe, the turtle acts as a force of balance against IT, a symbol of stability and creation. The presence of turtle imagery in moments of calm may indicate that forces beyond Pennywise are quietly pushing back, even if the characters don't notice. This gives the sense that episode 6 may explore not only the evil at work in Derry, but also the unseen forces trying to help the characters survive it. Another major connection to King's lore is the suggestion that Pennywise may be experimenting with new forms. In the book, IT has the ability to take on many shapes based on fear: werewolves, giant birds, and creatures from nightmares. The trailer shows shadows that don't match any known creature, distorted figures in dark corners, and reflections that seem to move differently from the people casting them. These could be hints that IT is expanding its tactics in episode 6, tapping into older, stranger forms from Derry's hidden history. This idea ties into the possibility that the show might reveal how Pennywise first came to Earth, something the book mentions only briefly. There's a sense that episode 6 may step closer to exploring IT's landing millions of years ago, when it crashed into what would eventually become Derry. Some background imagery in the trailer, like cracked stones glowing with faint orange light, resembles the deadlights, the true form of IT that exists outside human understanding. Another deep connection is the emotional undertone of the characters themselves. In King's writing, IT doesn't just attack physically, it infects emotions, memories, and relationships. Several moments in the trailer show characters acting strangely toward each other, almost as if influenced by an outside force. This mirrors the novel's idea that IT can manipulate adults, cause irrational anger, or push townspeople to ignore obvious danger. The trailer includes a brief shot of a police car driving past a terrified child without slowing down, which feels like a perfect example of Derry's strange blindness. One of the key elements in King's world building, all of these subtle references create a powerful sense that the show isn't just using IT as a horror icon, but is digging into the deeper mythology that made the original story so haunting. Episode 6 looks ready to reveal how Pennywise's influence shapes every corner of Derry, its past, its people, and even the rules of reality itself. Theories surrounding episode 6 are growing fast because the trailer leaves so many clues without giving direct answers, and this creates a huge space for speculation. One of the strongest theories is that Pennywise is not simply returning to feed, but is preparing to change into a new form, something we haven't seen in the movies or the earlier episodes. The strange movement of shadows, the distorted reflections, and the unnatural behavior of objects suggest that IT might be testing new ways to appear in the physical world. Instead of showing up instantly as the familiar clown, IT may be slowly leaking through the cracks of reality, letting its true cosmic form influence the town. Some fans believe Episode 6 could show Pennywise in a stage between forms, a transition where the creature is not fully visible but its energy twists the world around it. This could explain the bending shadows and the objects that seem to move on their own, hinting that Pennywise's power is growing stronger or more desperate. Another major theory focuses on the character's emotional changes. Several shots show people acting confused, panicked, or strangely aggressive. In Stephen King's lore, IT has always been able to influence emotions, especially fear. Some viewers think Episode 6 may reveal that one or more characters are already under Pennywise's mental control. The idea is not possession in the typical horror sense, but something more subtle: whispers in the mind, hallucinations that guide decisions, or sudden flashes of intense emotion that push a character toward danger. If this theory is true, Episode 6 could reveal the first signs of a character turning into a tool for Pennywise, unknowingly helping spread fear across Derry. A character might lead friends into danger thinking they are making the right choice, or they might see someone as a threat when they are actually an ally. The trailer hints at these possibilities through quick shots of characters staring at nothing or reacting to things no one else can see. Another big theory is connected to the idea of a new victim. Trailers often hide clues about who may be in danger next, and Episode 6 seems filled with signs pointing toward one character being targeted. The camera often lingers on one specific person looking frightened or isolated, suggesting Pennywise is circling closer to them. The scenes with a balloon drifting behind someone are especially suspicious. The balloon stays at a careful distance, almost like a predator shadowing its prey. Many fans think Episode 6 will begin the process of breaking this character emotionally before any physical danger appears. Pennywise rarely strikes without first weakening someone mentally. If this theory is right, Episode 6 might be the episode where the chosen character starts losing their grip on reality, seeing visions, hearing voices, and discovering dark secrets connected to Derry's past. This part of the storyline could lead to a shocking moment later in the episode or even in Episode 7. A fourth theory involves the town itself. Some fans believe the trailer's strange environmental behavior like odd weather, flickering lights, and gravity movement suggest Derry is starting to react to Pennywise's awakening. In Stephen King's universe, Derry acts like a living organism, one shaped by IT's presence over millions of years. When Pennywise grows stronger, the town becomes unstable. Episode 6 could show that the barriers between the physical world and IT's dimension are weakening. This would explain why simple scenes look bent or unnatural. If this theory is true, Episode 6 might not just show individual characters being terrorized, but the entire town slipping into chaos as IT's influence spreads like a sickness. This could lead to unpredictable events, such as illusions appearing in broad daylight or reality glitching around specific locations. The final major theory is that Episode 6 may reveal part of Pennywise's origin. The brief flashes of glowing stones, distorted symbols, or ancient-looking patterns may hint that the show is building toward a deeper explanation of where IT came from. This could be the first episode to show visions or memories from millions of years ago when Pennywise crashed into Earth. If the trailer is teasing this, then Episode 6 might give viewers the clearest look yet at the creature behind the clown mask. It wouldn't show everything mystery is part of the fear, but it could give enough to make the threat feel much larger than Derry. Alone, all these theories create a picture of an episode that might be the turning point of the season. Episode 6 feels like the moment when Pennywise's presence stops being a background fear and becomes a direct, unavoidable force shaping the world and the characters in ways they can no longer ignore.